Or your jacket, excuse me. It looked like a sweater material.
Are we good? Everybody ready? Okay. Good evening and welcome to the January 28th, 2013 regular meeting of the Waterloo Community School District Board of Education. I hereby call the meeting to order. Please now join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. Now please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That's twice. And now Andrea Sparks will read the school district's mission statement.
The Waterloo Schools community commits to a comprehensive system of education and support to assure that each and every student will graduate prepared for college, career, and citizenship, as evidenced by continuing education, pursuing a career path, and contributing to a community.
Thank you, Andrea. And the first item on our agenda that's in our board packet is a very good one. It is a board celebration to hear from two LEGO League teams from our district, from Hoover and from Kingsley Elementary School. And we're going to hear from them. We have a number of people here in the audience. And we also have here Angela Francis, who is, as of early January, is the school district's STEM coordinator. It's a position that's been worked on through a collaboration with the Waterloo Community Schools Foundation, but this is a great introduction, Angela, for you to be here with this program, and we welcome you. If you could give us some background information on this, and then we'll hear from the students from Hoover and from Kingsley.
Thank you to those of you who haven't met me before. Angela Francis, and I am the new STEM coordinator, and I've been with the district for about a month and a half. And one of the first STEM programs that I was introduced to in the district was LEGO League. So I've had the opportunity to go out to Orange, Kingsley, and Hoover, meet with both students and coaches, and find out a little bit more about what this STEM program is. So this evening we have two teams here, one from Kingsley and one from Hoover, and they are going to share with you what they've done through LEGO League this season. And to start us off, I have a little video to show you some background on what LEGO League actually is. So enjoy.
Table and you say, well, you need 2 rotations or...
There's 3 parts of LEGO League, and one part is the mission. The mission's like part of it, where it's robotics. So basically what you're supposed to do is they create a table full of challenges that you have to do every year, and it's all different depending on what the theme is. This year it's senior solutions, so it's something to do with seniors, so like cardiovascular or pill bottles. And so basically you have to create a robot, and you have to add onto the things that you want to do. You have to add what it will take to do those.
We have a program called Mindstorm. It has like little moving blocks on it. You do it on the table and you say, well, you need 2 rotations or 280 degrees, and then you put it in the computer, and we have a Bluetooth, so it'll Bluetooth it over, and then it will do that, and then we just tweak it every single time we need to.
We all do different things. Like one day 2 people will be working on the robot, and 2 people will go here, and 2 people will work on the project, and then the next practice will switch around, so we all get a little bit of everything.
This year we went into the community and made videos to explain how to use different programs with the computer, and we also bought a computer for a senior home called Ridgeway Place.
We decided to do it the computer because we could get more involved in the community that way, and it would affect more seniors, because today we're not doing pencil and paper. That's not what we do anymore. We get on the computer and we send an email.
LEGO League is really fun, but it also helps at school because it helps you with different skills like public speaking and research.
My favorite part of LEGO League is that you can, with your project, you can go into the community and make a huge difference. So I think that's a lot of fun.
Okay, so at this time I'd like to ask Andy Slack and her team from Kingsley to come up and speak with you.
So as you can see, Lego League is a lot of fun. These girls, for most of them, this is their second year in Lego League. They started as third graders. They're current fourth graders at Kingsley. And this is my cohort in crime, Heidi Bray. She's our John Deere mentor. And so she and I and Stacy Mills, who's my co-coach, have been working with these girls the last 2 years working on Lego League. And so I think I'm going to have the girls go ahead and kind of share their favorite thing about Lego League, because you kind of already have the background about what the challenges and things were about. So I'm going to have them come up and introduce themselves with their name and then tell you about their favorite part of Lego League. Right here, honey. You want to be able to hear you.
My name's Noelle, and my favorite part was going to the competitions.
My name is Kyla, and my favorite part was probably just programming the robot.
My name's Vivian, and my favorite part was just hanging out with my team and working very hard.
So as you can see, they have a variety of things that they really enjoyed about Lego League. The thing I think that I enjoy the most is, like they all said, kind of being able to hang out with my team, you know, learning things that they wouldn't normally learn in their everyday educational opportunities, you know, being able to go to competitions and seeing other people doing the same things that they're doing, and the challenge of really using science and technology, and especially for a group of girls who probably wouldn't necessarily do this if this opportunity hadn't come available for them. So I'm really proud that we have a girls team, and we hope to continue that girls team this next couple years. And then we have one more.
Girls, how often do you meet?
Use the microphone.
Can you hit the button?
Can you turn it on? Hit that. There you go.
We often meet about 2 times a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Okay. And you get one project to work on, is it each year? That the set of tasks that you have to complete? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
And did that change from last year to this year? Okay. Yes. What did you do last year? What were your tasks?
We did peanut allergies.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, thank you for all you're doing. And Heidi, thank you as well. I know John Deere, I think at Orange too, I think Sally Hollis was involved there on their team from John Deere as well. And I know John Deere's just done a lot, but for the Lego Leagues, but also for getting girls involved and invested as well. So thank you for being here. But
What does the 935 on your shirt mean?
That's our team number.
oh, okay.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
And are those little skirts called 3-3s or 2-2s? What are they, ladies? Or 4-4s? Okay, could be.
Yes. Well, Andy, and a big thanks to you too. I know
Thank
this
you.
is a lot of extra work, but yeah, it's a great thing for the students, and we appreciate you taking the initiative on this as well. So, great. Thank you all. Great job.
And I am Tamara Willis, and I am the coach of the Bionic Bandits, which is the Hoover team. I'm the second-year coach of a fourth-year team, so they've been together longer than I've been with them as a coach. And they have done very, very great things, and I think this year was kind of our favorite year for our project, because we really felt this year that it was something that we were not only doing something just to do a project, but we actually went out into the community and made a difference. And I'm going to let them tell you about that. We had kind of planned to run through our presentation that we did at our competitions, and we're missing a couple team members due to illnesses and other commitments, so we decided just to talk about it. And so there's a PowerPoint that they actually did show. This was part of their, this is part of what they had going as they did their presentation. And they'll give you all the same information, but take out kind of the little skitty parts that we had built in there for humor. But I think you'll find them funny enough the way it is. So here you go.
So this year we have, well, I should begin with, every year we have a new kind of focus for FLL, and this year was senior solutions. So we had to create a project based on senior solutions, like something to do with seniors and how to keep them engaged, connected, and and connected, I guess, whatever. And so what we did this year was, what we did this year was create videos on how to use simple computer programs such as like email and Skype and turning the computer on and off and things like that. And so we actually had to go out in the community and find out what they thought of our idea, because it's working with them for them, so we needed to have their opinion. So we went to Ridgeway Place, and we asked them what they thought, and I think that like almost every single one of them thought it was a good idea. And although there was only a couple that only used computers, I think that they would all like to. So is that all I said? Oh, yeah,
So we had already been planning to get a computer that for seniors. So, but after we talked to the people at Ridgeway Place, we kind of found out that they were already trying to get that kind of computer. So we did some research and found about 3 computers that were easier for seniors to use. So, and the one we eventually decided on was called the A+ senior computer. So that was just a huge part of our project, just going out to the Ridgeway Place and kind of getting them that computer. So.
So basically, we made these instructional videos, I guess you could say, so that for seniors who don't have this special computer that we got for Ridgeway Place, so that if they don't have that, they can at least use their computer. So basically, we made these videos about like he said, YouTube, Skype, email, even turning the computer on and off, and basically, we put those onto DVDs, and then we gave them out to different nursing homes and libraries. And also, to our videos, we added subtitles so that if they couldn't hear or understand us, they could at least read what we were saying. Because they said that some of the seniors at Ridgeway Place said that some of the things that they have seen, they couldn't like hear the people or understand them because maybe they're talking too loud or quiet.
Well, like, there's a couple other things that we made videos for. Like, we use them for like using email and like using other like things on the internet that are like big right now, and like Facebook and stuff, so you can communicate with people.
Talk about what she said about her grandson on Skype.
There was like this one person who like on Skype, she was able to see her like grandson like a couple hours after he was born, when she would have had to have drove like 6 hours to see him, and instead she saw him like 3 hours after he was born. So yeah.
Neat.
Well, to make the videos, what we did is we used different screen recording programs, and then when we were done recording the videos, we added subtitles using video editing programs.
Mm-hmm.
And then we published the videos and compiled them into one DVD that we made. And we took the DVDs to a local retirement communities and work with seniors on how to use the computer programs. Then also we left the DVDs with seniors so that they can use them as a reference. We also took them to other places like libraries.
And I'm going to just show you a quick example of the video that one of the ones that we did. This was just on sorry. I'm going to show you a quick example of one that we did. This is on computer basics. I'm going to bump it up just a little bit.
Right here's the scroll wheel. When you scroll down, it will scroll down the page you are on. If you scroll up, it will scroll up the page.
There is sound on them. We consistently have problems with getting this to work the way we want to, which is why Mrs. Arndorfer is giving you brochures. At our first practice competition, we couldn't connect to a projector, and they said, what are you going to do if you get to regionals and you can't connect? And so one of the team members said, why don't we make a brochure? So the kids made brochures. So there is sound, I promise, it's just not working right now.
Here is an easy way to search through them.
We went to local businesses to ask for donations to buy the computer, and when we finally reached the goal, we installed the computer at Ridgeway Place. And we worked with a couple of seniors to help them to learn how to use the computer.
Yep. Just tackle that. Ben's going to tell you a little bit about our robot and the process. I'm just going to let this run. This is what it looked like. He's going to talk about the process of building and programming.
Okay, so as you know, every year we have different challenges, and so what we like to do is pick out the ones that we think are more of a challenge, like the hard ones. And so we pick out, this year I think we picked out 1 or 2, and then we based our robot design off of that. And then after we have the first 2 down, we know we can do those, we say, hey, how about we do this and this? And people go, oh, maybe this will work. So we, we'll try. Our robot gets rebuilt and modified to adjust for different missions. So by the time state competition rolled around, we had our robot completely built, and then we kind of like to color coordinate it. So as you can see, it's mostly yellow and white. So yeah. That's it.
Well, thank you all for your work and your presentation here. Do you have time for a couple questions?
Do you have time for a couple questions?
What with the Lego? Are you given certain Legos and then the missions or the tasks that you have to complete, and you can choose which missions you want to take on? Is that correct? Or
yes.
Okay. Now, how do you go through the process of deciding what you want to do?
We take the ones that we think are the coolest and the most challenging that we'll learn from. So, like this year, the first challenge that we did was the pill bottle, and we had to figure out how to program it to do these things that we have never done before. And I think that's how we kind of base it on.
Okay. And you have only a certain amount of Legos pieces that you can use. Is that correct? Or
go ahead.
Sort of. You can buy kits that are around $200 to $300, and you can buy more Legos. But the thing is, you can only use a certain amount of motors, which allow the robot to move. And it really doesn't matter how big your robot is, as long as it fits in your base, which is a square area in the bottom right-hand corner of the table.
Okay.
And your robot has to be able to fit in there, and it doesn't really matter how high it is or how low it is. As long as your robot runs and it does what it's supposed to, it's fine.
Okay.
Actually, there is kind of a height limit. It's like...
Oh, okay.
Like that.
And then how much time do you spend on the Lego part of it versus the service part of it, the senior solutions, I guess? Is that?
Well, usually we try to divide it, pretty equally. So each practice we have about 2 people running the robot, and everyone else either working on the project or the videos we had to do. So we kind of like to make sure that there's time for everything.
Well, I want to commend you all for this, for the community service you have done for the residents at Ridgeway Place. And I just think it's amazing, and all the skills that you acquired by gathering all this information and putting it into a DVD for the seniors, and also this very nice brochure that you made also. That's great. Good job.
Could each of you introduce yourselves and tell us your name and your grade and your favorite part about your project?
My name's Evan Baker. We're basically all in the same grade, 7th grade. And my favorite part about Lego League would be working with all these awesome people.
Does that include Mrs. Willis?
What?
Does that include Mrs. Willis?
No. Not really. Not really.
Okay. My name is Ben Nunkerton, and my favorite part about Lego League is working with the robot.
Cool.
My name is Sam O'Brien, and my favorite part of Lego League is working on the project.
My name is Sam Anderson, and my favorite part is probably working on the project and doing research.
My name is Sam Wright, and my favorite part is probably just the whole thing, because it's awesome.
I'm Zane Slack, and my favorite part was working on the robot and discovering different challenges and getting past them with all my great friends.
I'm Amber, and I like to see what the other teams have accomplished at the competitions.
What are your medals on you're wearing?
We get from the competition.
And you're missing 2 tonight?
We're missing 2.
Well, guys, very well done. We're very proud of you. Great job. And Tamara, thank you as well. We know it's a lot of work and a lot of extra work as well. We appreciate
It's always an adventure with this
taking
group,
the
as
lead.
you can kind of
Being
see. We love each other a lot.
Well, guys, from Kingsley and from Hoover, thank you all.
Thank
and
you.
Great job.
Oh, I'll leave a couple of DVDs.
Great.
We have, just a quick update, I just got a phone message today from somebody who read our article in the Courier and said, I want one of those DVDs. So we're still getting them out there. And we're certainly open to going to other places if anybody has any ideas or knows of any need. My school email, or we actually have a Bionic Bandits Gmail that is part of the DVD. So
Okay, and what's that? Can you say that email address?
yeah, it's bionicbandits@gmail.com.
Okay.
And we have it on our the DVD that they designed. They designed all the covers and everything. So the kids, they really work hard in there. I'll just leave them there for later.
Okay.
Thank you.
Tamara, thanks again.
Thanks.
All right, and the next item on our board agenda is acceptance of a donation from the Community Foundation. This is Exhibit B. It's on page 4 of your board packet. And the recommended motion is that the Board of Directors accepts and acknowledges a gift in the amount of $10,000 from the Community Foundation of Northeast Iowa for standardized dress code assistance. And Crystal Buzz is here to give us just a little bit of a background on this. So, Crystal, I'll turn it over to you.
Yes, I am pleased to come back in January. We had applied for a donation back in October, would have been the time that I first presented this, to help with dress code assistance that we did at the beginning of the year. This year we did it a little differently, where we asked families who applied, we asked that they pay a small amount in exchange for their clothing. So we asked them for $5 for a starter set of clothing. So that would be $2 for the pants, $1 per shirt. We gave them 2 shirts, and $1 for the belt. So they could opt if they wanted the entire set or part of it. And so we were able to help a total of 831 students. That was district-wide. So it was great to go to the award ceremony that they had just here in January with the Community Foundation. And we're just really pleased that the Community Foundation has been extremely supportive since we started the dress code.
Great, that's very nice to hear. Any questions? This used to be a much more controversial topic that would bring discussion, but
I move to approve.
Yes, well, we need to get the motion on the table, then we'll move forward. Second, any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. And the chair votes aye, motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen. All right, and the next item on our agenda is information from individuals and delegations, and anyone who would like to is invited to speak to the board. I want to make anybody feel welcome, but we have kind of a light audience now, so seeing no one, I will not read the card. We'll move on then to the consent agenda, which tonight the consent agenda includes the minutes of the January 14th, 2013 regular board meeting, personnel appointments and adjustments since our last board meeting, bills due and payable between board meetings, teacher enrichment grants from the McElroy Trust. There are 3 of them for East, Central, and Orange, a total of just under $3,000, about $1,000 each. Then a West High grant from Lowe's Toolbox for Education for the amount of $5,000. Mike Sinram is here on that one regarding action-based learning. Then a request for the Cedar Valley Sports Commission and the Waterloo Hotel Motel tax for a grant for the Battle of Waterloo Wrestling Tournament that's held every year. And then finally a cooperative sponsorship agreement for girls soccer with Dunkerton at East High School. And this is the consent agenda. Are there any items that board members wish to remove from the consent agenda? Okay, hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Okay, in a second?
Second.
Okay, in discussion. And Mike Sinram is here from West High. I don't know if there are any questions for him. If not, Mike, I'd just like to recognize you and thank you for doing the work to get this grant. It sounds like a very good one, so thank you for being here, and thanks especially for your work, and congratulations on getting the grant from Lowe's. And we appreciate the generosity from Lowe's as well. So. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The chair votes aye, motion carried. Then the next item on our agenda, it kind of ties in with one item on our consent agenda, and that is Exhibit I on page 26. It's a request for the Waterloo Hotel Motel Tax Grant Fund for the alumni reunion. We just had the request for the Battle of Waterloo Wrestling Tournament, but this is for the All Alumni Reunion Weekend, and Crystal Buzza is here again. Has done a lot of work in this vein. So Crystal, excuse me, let me get the motion on the table and then we'll go ahead with that. The recommended motion is that the Board of Education authorize submission of the grant to the Waterloo Hotel Motel Tax Grant in the amount of $6,000 for the All Alumni Reunion Weekend and approval of any resulting award. Get that motion on the table.
So moved.
Okay, thank you. And a second?
Second.
Okay. And Crystal, now we'll turn it over to you for some background.
Thank you. Since I started with the district, I have been working on making better connections with our alums. That's one thing that we've been trying to do, and we know that that's a really great way for us to re-engage our alums, find out where they're at, maybe make some connections through our career interest academies, and also hopefully make some connections for our foundation. So since I've started with the district, one thing that I've kind of talked about, and when Carrie Rankin started with the foundation, we thought, how can we get in front of our alums? They come back for reunions. It seems like a really quick time, but and sometimes when we go into our buildings, it's midsummer, and you're not really quite sure what state that they're in because that's our deep cleaning time. And so we thought, wouldn't it be nice if we could have our buildings set and presentable for alums to walk through, but then to maybe put a small event together, so it's like an open house where we'd have some students help give tours, explain what they're doing now in high school, but then also learn about these alums as well, and then have an opportunity maybe in the commons where we could have a little social, and then we could talk about a little bit more of our strategic plan, and we could also try to engage them through the foundation as well as an opportunity. So Carrie Rankin and I had been talking for quite some time, and we thought, let's look at a weekend. So I immediately thought, well, the Convention and Visitors Bureau, they are all about bringing visitors into the community in the right times. And so after talking with them and finding out, you know, their guidance on weekends, they actually suggested a weekend that's not a current holiday weekend. So for example, Cedar Falls, when they do their reunions, they do it around Sturgis Falls. Well, in Waterloo, downtown, all of our hotels are really full, and sometimes getting meeting space is not as easy. So we looked at a different weekend, and that's why we are suggesting that the weekend of August 8th through the 10th as being a great opportunity to just give it a try. So we're going to try it for 2014. And this grant is actually to help us send some, I guess, marketing materials, contact those people this summer, and then encourage them if they choose to come back on this weekend. We'll certainly help them if they decide this isn't a weekend for them. But if they decide to come back, we can help through this grant pay for some marketing and some mailing that they would need to get out to their class. And we're also going to see, depend upon how much we get for a grant, we can maybe help them with a down deposit if they decide to choose their evening event. Most of reunions do evening events if they have it in Waterloo. So that's what we would like to use the funds for, to help market to their current you know, classmates, and then to also help them with a down deposit for a meeting space for the evening.
And this would be again open to all all graduating classes, not just
what we're looking at actually would be the ones who would normally be coming back.
Okay.
So for 2014, it would be classes that end in 9 and 4.
Okay.
So 5, 10, 15, 20, and that. But if somebody decided to come back, you know, I'm sure we would be welcome to have them.
Gotcha.
And we'd have the open house anyways. I would imagine it'd probably be a longer time frame than what we normally have for an open house or tour. We'd probably look at maybe a 4-hour stretch of time, because we hope we have a lot of bodies coming back.
Okay. Great idea. Oh, it sounds like a very, very good idea. So thank you for all your work on this. Are there any questions or further discussion? Again, it's August 9th of 2014.
Correct.
Yeah, so in about a year and a half. Okay. Well, if there's no further discussion, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. And the chair votes aye. Motion carried. Crystal, thank you again. All right, the next item on our agenda is Exhibit J. It's on page 28 in our board packet. This is for the 2011-2012 school year district financial audit. And the recommended motion is that the Board of Education receive and place on file the 2011-2012 district financial audit. Can we get that?
To approve.
Oh, thank you.
In a second.
Okay, thank you. And just for a little bit of background before the discussion, and I'll turn it over to Michael Coughlin. This it was presented to the Finance Committee, which we discussed it last week with the auditor from Hogan Hansen, Dennis Meiskens, out of their Mason City office. And it was Bernice Richard and Chandler McNally and me, and met with Dr. Norris and then Michael Coughlin, and then met just the 3 board members, and then Dennis Meiskens afterwards, just us, and everything with the audit seemed very, very good. It was an unqualified audit, and it was just something that's very, very positive. It was great to see. So, Mr. Coughlin, I'll turn it over to you. If you could give us some background on this.
Well, actually, I'd rather talk about Legos after they got me going on that, because I literally have been spending most of my adult life with those. I have 3 sons from age 30 to age 14, and I have been buying Legos for 3 decades. And we have a ton of them. So I felt right at home listening to all of that and watching it on the screen. Anyway, with the audit, it's a big document. There's a lot of things in it. But I think probably what will be familiar to you is the financial statements that we do every month, and then we do it at the end of the year to give you some idea of what our balances are. Finance Committee deals with a lot of issues of where are we at the end of the year, what's our unspent balance, what's our fund balance, and we will be getting into that a little bit more in the next couple of months, just because we will be dealing with the certified budget. Those documents just came out last Friday, so that gives me something to do now that I've been looking for something. We will start that whole process. But as we look at the audit, I would encourage you to go to the website and look at it, because it really is broken into some sections that may not be quite as daunting. The beginning part of the audit is a management letter, management description of kind of our activities, and it's supposed to be written in layman's terms, so you can look at it and say, what have we done, where have we been, and where are we going? So there's a little bit of verbiage in there that hopefully makes a little more sense than just a ton of columns of numbers. Excuse me, but then as you go through the exhibit of the audit and page through it, it does deal with a lot of issues like special funding through federal grants. It deals with what kind of debt limit we have left available. And then it does, because the auditors have to look at some of this funding in detail. When we're looking at federal money, it's about $15 million that we get from direct federal grants. And as we're talking about that, that's the thing that rings in the back of my head as you're hearing sequestration being mentioned on the news almost every day, of where that's going to go on the federal level and if we're going to have to deal with that. So that will be part of our planning for next year. But as you get to the back part of the audit, there's really two documents that you get. One of them is just the audit itself, and it's all the numbers. And the back part of that deals with the findings and any questions that they have, any concerns. As Mr. Young was saying, that we got a very clean audit. There was no comments of any substance of saying things were not represented well, we didn't find what we were looking for. So from that standpoint, the audit was very clean. We have had some minor comments in the last couple of years based on number of applications in the lunch fund that wasn't quite the exact number. It was 2 or 3 off. So some of those things we did pay some attention to get those cleaned up out of the audit. So from the standpoint of reviewing it with Dennis Meiskens, who has been a very valuable resource for us, not only doing the audit at the end of the year, but asking them questions and getting guidance through the year to get things done the correct way the first time. He came in and met with the Finance Committee and really gave us a very clean audit. And I do want to, a couple of things. I think this is the 15th year in a row that it was an unqualified opinion, which is the good version. So we've had a good history of that, and I did want to mention that my staff works on this very diligently. It's a very large amount of work at the end of the year, and our business manager, Jeff Sommerfeld, heads all of that and organizes all of the work to get that done, to meet the deadlines and the appropriate exhibits that are supposed to be done. The other document that I did want to direct your attention to is we also have a certified annual financial report, which is affectionately known as CAFR. It is the audit with a number of exhibits added to it. Demographics of the community, of the Cedar Valley, of the employers, of a history, and that goes 10 years in just about every exhibit that we have with that. That, I think you will find that very interesting to go back and see some of the pieces, because an audit is just not the numbers. There's a lot of things that go with the financial condition of a school district. It's not just what money you happen to have in the bank on a particular day, but it really is what is your financial health in order to support a delivery system for the best for our kids. So that's really the focus of what we do. It's not just the business department. HR is very involved in it because salaries are such a big part of the budget, and ed services and student services. All of those things tie together. And absolutely, the superintendent has a few things to say about this as well. So it's really a combined package of saying how do we use the funds that we have to support the system that we want to create and sustain, because it's always changing, and as you know, Des Moines changes and the governor changes and the legislature changes. So with all of those things, how do we then support with the financial package to be able to serve our children?
I want to commend Michael and Jeff and Deb and everyone else in that office for doing such a fantastic job. I mean, when we sat there, we were just trying to find something, some discrepancies, but we couldn't. So that shows what a great job that you've done.
Thank
to have
you.
such a great, clean audit like that.
And I know that a couple years ago, you know, when we got that new software, it was
Right.
taking us a while, and we had the opportunity. The finance committee met with Dennis by ourselves, and were able to talk to him. And one of the things he commented about was the timeliness in which the information was to him this year versus 2 years ago. And again, that's a real testament to your staff and you guys for getting it to him and having that time. So it was all good.
And I would just echo those comments. This is one of those things that, with an audit, if it's bad, it gets an awful lot of attention, and it should. But if it's good, there's not the corresponding positive attention that goes with it. It just kind of, everybody kind of looks at it and moves on. But I did think, reading through everything and going through the meeting on Wednesday, this is a very, very good thing. And so for that, Dr. Norris, but Michael, and to Jeff Sommerfeld and everybody in your office, we appreciate all you're doing. And at all of our buildings with all the reporting, and I'm sure the thousands of hours that go into compiling the information and then presenting it. It's still a huge amount of work for the auditors as well, but we appreciate all of that. And
Thank you.
It's a very positive thing. Any further questions or discussion? Okay. If not, we'll vote on the motion to place this on file. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. And the chair votes aye. Motion carried. Then the next item on our agenda is not for vote, but it's the monthly internal financial information that I guess goes in monthly into what the audit is at the end of each year. But for this is Exhibit K on page 30. Starts on page 32 in our board packet. And Mr. Coughlin, we'll turn it back over to you.
We are, in one regard, halfway through the year, 6 months at the end of December, and in the other half, not really halfway through the year because teachers are paid through August, so some things are a little offset that will be paid later in the summer. But it gives us some semblance of a percentage to say we should be pretty close to halfway on some things. It's so as you're looking at that, that gives you a little bit of a reference point. On page 33 and 34, these are all of the funds that we deal with and all of the cash balances. This is what's in the bank accounts for all the different funds. On page 35 is then the summary of the revenues on the top. So about 41.5% have come in to this point. And the expenditures by object code are on the bottom. We've spent about 38% of our budget. So those are coming in about at the level that they should, and revenues are somewhat the same as well, as we don't start state aid until September. So it's not like half of that is in. You can see that up on the above in the revenues that just under 40% of that is in at this time. So things are going as we are expecting. And on page 36 is a breakdown of all the expenditures from the general fund with a couple reference points. The top graph is the different functions with the object codes that go with them, so you can see how each area is being broken out by object code up to this point during the year, about 46.7 million. Then the middle box is the total budget for the year of this current year, so you can kind of refer to what's been spent out of a particular area. And then the bottom box is last year's numbers for the whole year, so you can do comparison by area in that. On page 37 is the other major funds that we deal with. The management fund, where we're showing about 50% of revenue in, 52% of expenditures put out, and that one is a little bit more direct to the calendar year that we're halfway through, because activity for the management fund really does start in July when we pay for liability and property insurance and so on. So that those percentages are pretty accurate to the timing. The middle box, the PEPL fund, showing about 55% of the revenue in, and we've spent 69%, and that reason behind that is all of the concentration of the roofing projects that we did hit that heavily in the fall, so the revenue will catch up with that as we get later into the year. And then the bottom box is the capital projects, or the sales tax revenue, where we've got about 50% in, and we've spent 50% of the budget, but the number is a lot higher, and we are overspending the revenue with that, using up a balance from the year before, so that's on track as well. With the activity at the Orange Elementary and dealing with the Hoover, mainly those are the two projects that are using that money this year, the Hoover Band project and the Orange Elementary. And then page 38 is the graph by the four major funds of the cash flow. And just a note on the general fund, how you see money below the zero amount, that's the amount of money that is being borrowed to the sales tax fund to cash flow that while until more sales tax revenue comes in. And the management fund is kind of recovered, and the PEPL fund is about at zero right now, and that will recover as the year goes on. But you can see by the line behind it kind of the trends, how it has done in the past year. So there are some ups and downs with it, but it recovers by the end of the year.
So the general fund that you see on top on page 38, that includes the other three funds below that?
No, it does not. That's just the general fund.
Okay.
And that cash flow is a couple million below the activity from last year. There was, because of the tax rate, we did levy a little bit less in cash reserve, and we spent a little heavier than what last year's anticipated was. So when you add those things together, we are a little bit at a lower trend for cash flow in the general fund this year than we were a year ago.
Okay. Any questions or discussion? Okay. Well, Michael, thank you again for the audit as well, but for this monthly information as well. All right, we'll move on to the next item on our agenda, and this is for vote. This is a board policy. It's a second reading, and there's just one policy that's on the agenda. It is for, it's policy number 603.4 regarding home or hospital services, and it's an existing policy. It's just being slightly modified. The recommended motion is that the board approve the following policy, home or hospital services. Can we get that motion on the floor?
So moved.
Thank you. In a second.
Second.
Okay. In discussion. Again, this is up for second reading. I don't think there have been any changes since our last meeting. But
Correct.
okay, seeing no questions or discussion, I ask for a vote on the motion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. And the chair votes aye. Motion carried. And that concludes our action items on our agenda. So next we'll hear from Dr. Norris for the superintendent's report.
Thank you, President Mike. I just wanted to remind everyone that a week ago, Friday, we had a meeting with UEN superintendents, and we spent quite a bit of time talking about the legislative proposals that are going through committee now. We had quite a number of questions and quite a bit of discussion, and then Jason Glass, the director, was able to meet with us for about an hour and a half, and it was a very enlightening meeting. He was extremely well prepared and was extremely focused and was able to answer 80 to 90 to 95% of our questions. Very well done. Agree or disagree with the way everything's coming down. They have a much more focused legislative approach this year rather than throwing in everything under ed reform. They're really studying the teacher leadership role. We've had Linda Fandel, as you know, here to show her how we're using teacher leadership in our district, and my hope is that we'll be able to qualify for the funding without major changes. We're going to have to make some changes, but I think we demonstrated that we're already making fairly good use of teacher leaders. The thing that was news to me is they're going to propose a 3-year rollout on this change, and the districts that are ready to go initially can apply for first round funding and then second round funding and third round funding. It's about $50 million a year, and in my mind there's no reason at all that we shouldn't be getting credit for some of the work we're doing, and so we're going to be ready, and it's going to be a tight turnaround, but we're going to be ready once the legislature adjourns in May to apply for our share of the $50 million, which is about between $200 and $300 a pupil, and see if we can use some of that money to fund some of the teacher leader things going on right now, so that while we're adjusting our budget, we don't have to lose those or other positions. So we're going to very aggressively go after that money, and then last week the governor was here for the Cedar Valley Alliance little legislative meeting, and I was able to spend about 10 minutes personally with the governor and had some very frank conversation. And so I think it really was enlightening to me to see what he's trying to do. Not that we can't read it in the news, but anyway, I think I think it'll be hopefully we can get the allowable growth issue. I was trying to say to him, we've got to have both. We've got to have allowable growth and reform, and I think that's the main message. We all just need to keep it. Got to have both. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Dr. Norris. And now we'll hear from board members. And I'll start with Mike Kinchy.
I have nothing tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. And Andrea Sparks.
Let's see, I think it was last week, it might have been 2 weeks ago, I went out to Crossroads Shopping Center to visit our Crossroads school room out there. And the teacher there at the time was Rachel Brown, and she showed me around. And it's a very nice location. It's right next to Dillard, it's across from Zales, and it's right next to Hallmark. So, and it's been set up very nicely. So I really enjoyed seeing what that was and what it looked like.
Why did you mention Dillard's first? Okay, I just wondered.
That's a good landmark.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Everybody knows where Dillard's. Exactly.
First floor.
Yes. Thank you, Andrea. And Bernice Richard.
Oh, a week ago, Sunday, we had one of our own, Dr. Beverly Smith, as the keynote speaker at the Hawkeye Community College Martin Luther King Center Education Center banquet. And you would have been so proud of our Dr. Smith She did an excellent job as the speaker there. And one of the highlights of the evening is always when the students read their essay. This one little third grader had it going on. She was dramatic in her reading. She was going to get her education. She knew she has to learn to read well and do her math because she's going to be a singer and an actress. She wants to go into the arts, and she did an excellent job with her essay. Our older students did a great job too, but it was just so fun to see the younger ones.
Thank you, Bernice, and thank you, Dr. Smith, as well. And Sue Flynn.
No report, thank you.
Thank you. Shannon McNally? No report. Okay. And I would like to thank everybody on the stage for not laughing at me, as for the second time in a row I turned around and pledged allegiance to the Iowa flag and not the U.S. flag. I think we've done that. We've done that twice now.
We watched you all look.
They moved the flags around, and I'm so dense that for the second time I knew it, and I still did that.
I didn't even notice it.
Next time we'll turn around. Yes. That's why I made a note to myself to move the flags. So, but we'll see. We got through it. Sue, I'd just like to welcome you back. We're very glad to see you here. And our next meeting is in 2 weeks on Monday, February 11th at 6 p.m. here in the boardroom. If there's no further business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second, okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. And the chair votes aye. Motion carried. Thank you all.